European time here in Denmark. I'm here with my friend and colleague Rasmus Holm, who is actually the co-founder of a wonderful nonprofit named Skadejagt. I do not know if Rasmus has sound, so we are testing it. Rasmus, move those pretty lips. They're
But
not
there's
moving.
no new video.
Yes, Brian is here trying to help us, but there's nothing happening right now. So we are waiting to see if it uploads on Facebook, and he just left. Okay, so he's probably coming back on to see if there's something going on there. So I apologize for the tech delay, the tech problem. I'm going to throw up the banner. I'm going to mute myself, and we're going to work out this dilemma. All right? But otherwise, come back and hear about Skadejagt, or if you don't speak Danish, Trasher Hunt. He's coming back in, so maybe. Let's see.
What
Rasmus.
about now?
Okay.
Nothing.
So what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to check and see what.
Can you try it without the headsets?
Yes.
See if he has the microphone from the computer.
Yes, we're going to try that. How's that? He's going to test it. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, Rasmus. Rasmus? No. Oh boy, yes, it's quite an event. We are not seeing, there is a little bit of a challenge. It tells me the microphone is working. If you are able to hear Rasmus, it would be really much appreciated if you would let us know. It says his
What about
mic's
now?
working, but I do not hear him. Is it coming up on Facebook?
Is it working now?
Back of the house, in the front of the house, so that you know that we're here, and I have no idea why it's not doing this.
It's not working still, yes.
You have a latest post.
Somebody is happy about it, but can you hear us? Yeah, hit that like if you can hear Rasmus.
I don't think anybody can hear me.
Please. Or if you want to leave a message.
Rasmus, you need to say something so they can hear if you're
speaking.
Hello.
He's speaking, but I can see his lips.
Okay, now.
Is it us? No, it's not us, right? Oh my God. Oh,
Rasmus, are you there?
No, he left. Oh, wait.
We were muted.
Yes. It's the we muted that for the playback.
Oh no.
But that's why I asked, right? Here he is. I don't hear him here either. Did you hear him?
I don't hear you.
It's the yes. We muted that for the playback. That's why I asked. Okay.
Come back, Rasmus.
Come back. Rasmus, come back. We realized what the tech issue was.
We are so sorry.
Yes. Oh my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen. When Brian and I were together, Rasmus?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Yes. It was muted because of the feedback on the discussion. You probably followed that. So sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, again, I want to introduce Rasmus Holm. He is the co-founder of a wonderful nonprofit called Skadejagt, which is Treasure Hunt. And he is going to explain to you a little bit further about that, a little bit about himself, and some of the great initiatives he's a concerned citizen and of the world, and he's going to share with you some of his insights and overall general wonderfulness. So yes, I'm going to leave Rasmus. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much, Lori. So thank you very much for having me here, and I'm very happy to be able to speak a little bit about my organization and the different methods we use in order to engage people with environmental issues, especially relating to trash. In short, I have co-founded an organization called Skaljagt, which roughly translates to treasure hunt. So combining kind of the word treasure hunt or the concept of a treasure hunt with trash. And what we very concretely do is we've been running the organization for about a year now, and every last Sunday of the month, the last year, we have gone out with other concerned citizens and collected trash in different parks around Copenhagen. And what we try to do is engage people. Let me start with another place. Right now, we're living in a situation where you can basically find plastic and other types of trash from the deepest part in the ocean to the snow in the US, like inside every single snowflake, to glaciers in Italy and many other places. And I think it's not unlikely that within most of us and everybody who's with us here today and watching and viewing this stream, most of us probably also have microplastic inside us. So to say it very, very broadly and provocatively, we are currently drowning in trash. At the same time, I also think it's quite normal and quite human in a way to have a certain distance to this big issue that is currently overwhelming our economic and social systems, because I think trash is a thing that is easy to distance yourself from. I think it's very human in general to distance yourself from your waste products, whether it's poops, farts, or pee. We all prefer to kind of have a little bit taboo about it and push it away. And I think this also goes for trash, whether it's plastic or cigarette butts. And we all have a relationship to our friends and our families and the people around us and our local environment and so on. But I think it's also extremely important that we have a relationship with our trash. And in very few words, this is what our organization is trying to do, is reconnect people with the trash of their local environments and the trash in their daily life. And we do this primarily through 3 methods, which is community play, storytelling, and kind of discovery journey. So briefly to go through them, to go back to the first one, community play, we really try to create a positive experience around picking up the trash, which is basically gamification process of picking up trash. Concretely, right now, what we do is we have a competition during the trash collections about who finds the weirdest or funniest piece of trash. We also have sort of general playful atmosphere, and I think just fundamentally it's a fun experience to pick up trash. I know it sounds weird, but I think we're almost biologically wired to enjoy the process of picking up trash. Most of humanity, we have lived as hunters and gatherers, and picking up trash inside a park is basically is triggering all the same kind of stimulations as a hunter-gatherer usual experience of going out and looking for berries or looking for hidden things inside bushes and so on would do. So in that sense, I think it's just fundamentally fun to go around in a group and hunt something or gather something that is sort of hidden. Also, why we enjoy treasure hunts and a lot of stuff. It's kind of triggering a lot of those sort of biological biology, I would say, evolutionary places. So some of our community play part is basically that we have a conversation throughout the day where we try to, and this kind of goes into our second method, storytelling, where we try to really find the funniest, weirdest piece of trash, and we will find really weird stuff, from briefcases from the U.S. House of Representatives to butt plugs to condoms, computers, bow and arrows, any type of clothes you can imagine. In a bush somewhere near Østre Lake, we found just a little inside a bush. There was just 19 socks laying in a bunch for some reason. I don't know what the story behind that one is. So we have all kind of weird findings that we try to create a competitive environment around and have fun with. And then in general, it's just fun to go around and looking through bushes and like picking up stuff. So that's kind of our first method that we use to engage people with. The second method we use is storytelling, and I would say that with all these methods, these three methods, we are still just infants in exploring how powerful they are and what they can be used for. And this also goes for storytelling and also for the community play part. Like we can do so many more things to engage people in a playful and game-ish experience when picking up trash. And we're doing something, so we can do more. But this also goes for storytelling, right? Storytelling is probably one of the most powerful tools within anything. I mean, I would go as far as saying that storytelling is everything. If you look at our brains, basically, I would summarize it as a storytelling machine. I mean, this is so much of what our brain and our idea of ourselves is based on is just building stories about who we are and what we're doing and what time and space we find ourselves in and so on. And everything we do is just stories in our life. So we believe that storytelling is a super powerful tool, and we use storytelling both as a tool to engage people and to reconnect them with the trash, in the sense that at every event we will also take a moment to, especially when we have our competition about who finds the wheel, to go through what is the story of this trash ending up here in this park, and where did it come from? Like sometimes both from like the process of, okay, think about the process of, okay, this was produced somewhere, then somebody shipped it to another country, and somebody bought it in the supermarket, and then it ended up in this plastic wrapper, ended up in this park. Where you can also be like, what is the story behind this computer that we just found stored up, kind of stolen away, or the 19 socks left in the middle of a park. Like really trying to push people into thinking about the stories that sometimes are imaginary and sometimes are more realistic, and stories behind the trash. And what happens, I think, what we're trying to do at least is engaging people in stories about trash will make them feel more connected to trash, and in general also engage with the issue of trash in a deeper way. Lastly, and again, the storytelling, I think it's again something that we're deeply wired to. I mean, I think fundamentally we are born to think in stories, and this is really what we're trying to also engage people with, and building, changing the narrative to include trash in our stories about our daily lives and who we are and so on. So reconnecting us to trash in that way. The last method we use is discovery journeys, which in short I could describe as basically once you start to learn to listen to the stories of the trash leaves behind, and again go back to storytelling in a way, you start to see another layer of the city. This is something I've personally experienced, and I think also a lot of participants have experienced of our events, is that once you start digging through the trash of a certain park that you have walked through 100 times, you see a whole other side of that park. The same with if you just go and pick up trash in the street, is really quickly these different layers of your daily experience and your daily reality starts to pop up. This could be underground environments such as a drug market or homeless people or prostitution or drug addiction. I think I mentioned that already, but and it can also just be young people coming a certain place to hang out and have sex or drink beers or I mean, you see so many different sides of the city that you kind of thought you already knew. And it becomes almost like a sort of anthropological excavation into deeper underlying levels of the city. And this is again trying to reconnect people both, because I think we're living in also in a time where, first of all, people are feeling, I see two tendencies that I want to address through these kind of methods also. Which is one that I think a lot of people are feeling detached from and distanced from the political process. I think they are feeling increasingly detached from and disconnected from the local environment plus the global environment, both politically and socially. And I think what we're doing in Treasure Hunt is, or Skaliax, I should say, is at least working to reconnect and attach people again to these different boundaries, because first of all, you're coming out in your local environment and doing some concrete tasks that allows you to get an instant feedback and a sense of ownership over local close environments, local environments, and you get to do it with other people, which also creates a stronger sense of community. Which is also again why we don't just use play; we also use it's very the community part of the community play is very important. Yeah. Now, when I talk with Laurie about, so to conclude, these are maybe three main methods we try to use to re-engage people with trash in the local environment and take ownership of the trash in the local environments. And for people to think about and engage in environmental and climate issues, not only as consumers, which I think the majority of people right now, they primarily engage in these issues as consumers and think about how they as consumers should consume differently in order to solve this consumption crisis, which I would call it. I would almost not call it a climate crisis, I would call it consumption crisis, because that's really what it is. It has nothing to do with the climate, it is only to do with our extreme consumption. And not as individuals, as a society, and the political structure that enables that. Or forces it, I would even say, rather than enables. So basically what we try to do is to re-engage people with the trash. In short, you could say we're just trying to get people to come out and touch the trash, because then slowly they'll be reconnected with it. And to take part in the political discussion of, okay, we have a big issue here and we need to engage with it. It's not enough that we just buy differently in the supermarket. We actually need to do something about it. We need to think about how to create a solution to this issue. Now, this is not a political forum. This is an entrepreneurial forum. And when Laurie asked me to do this talk, she emphasized the importance of the journey to action, and the process of coming to action from being made aware of doom and impending challenges of our society, whether it's climate and environmental issues or political and social issues, economic issues. How do we as entrepreneurs and citizens and human beings react to these issues in front of us? And what can I do? And I just mentioned the thing about being a consumer versus being a citizen. How I think we really need to move beyond just being consumers and manifesting our political being in our consumption. We really need to move towards being citizens that use our voice and engage ourselves in our democratic ability. But what can we do in this process? I mean, we can demonstrate, but that also kind of feels a bit meaningless from time to time. I mean, and this is again, the political process can feel very far away, I think, for most people. I think entrepreneurship is definitely going to be a part of the solution, especially if your motive is not to make profit, but to create some kind of real change in your local environment. Um, and I guess in that context, my experience with working with our organization and developing that organization, my number one tip would be to take agency over your own decisions and lack of decisions, um, and action. In the sense that I had spent many years myself thinking that I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that and I wanted to help create change in regards to this and that and the environment and social politics and so on. But I kept coming with excuses. So I'll do it do it when I'm finished with high school. I'll do it when I'm finished with when I get a job. I'll do it when I'm in whatever. I'll do it when I have the money to do it. I'll do it when I'm not so busy as I am right now. But what I've really learned is, and a part of, I mean, a part of that whole process of excuses and lack of action is I guess both the fear of failing and the fear of not having the perfect product ready to launch, and you really want it to be good and you wanted to do it in the right way and so on. But what has been really helpful for me is just to intentionally make a lot of mistakes and just do stuff. And always just try to follow the energy wherever it is. And these are kind of unexplored, unfinished thoughts. So excuse me for taking a moment to think, but I guess the point is that if we constantly keep building our ideas of action up into this grand infrastructure of wanting to make a large institution and large institutional change and wanting to have all the money in place and all the things in place before we can do it and have the time and have the right circumstances, it's never going to happen. The right circumstances are never going to happen. The money is never going to be there, so on, so on, so on. So just do it. Don't fuck around. Don't do anything else. No more excuses. Just do it. And this can maybe be provocative in a sense, but the process of just doing it is it's more about doing it and then failing and then doing it better and then failing again and then doing it better instead of constantly being left back. And you can always do something, no matter what situation you're in. You can always do something to get closer to where you want to be. And I think when we talk about agency and empowerment, I think real empowerment really is formed in this process of just doing it and not being like removing the ego in that sense in regards to that, and just I don't care if I'm gonna look ridiculous when I do this. I don't care if people are gonna laugh at me when I do this. I don't care if people think this is a stupid idea. I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do it again afterwards, and I'm gonna do it better and constantly improve and constantly try and constantly fail. For me, that has at least been a much more effective way of creating progress and real empowerment within myself, in the sense that the more I do it, the more empowered and emboldened I get to keep doing it even further. So yeah, that would probably be my number one advice, is just to do something small and something that is 100% gonna fail and 100% gonna be really insufficient in achieving what you actually want to achieve. But just doing it takes you so much further than sitting and planning the next step. So don't overthink it. Of course, this is of course not black and white, and there's certain circumstances where you want to wait and rethink things and you don't want to waste people's time. But I think there's a greater chance, there's greater risk associated with that strategy in most cases, because in most cases people just need to do it. There's greater risk of loss in the overall picture than there is from just doing more things more often, and then failing and sometimes wasting people's time. But I think in the overall picture, you're gonna move so much further if you just follow the energy, follow your gut feeling about, okay, where do I have energy right now to do something, and then don't push it to tomorrow, because tomorrow you won't have the energy. So just almost, I mean, not always, but in most cases, just uncompromisingly following that energy flow wherever it comes, and constantly doing and then reshaping and doing again. That would be my big advice in that regard. And yeah, I think that was all I had to say. I am not sure if Rory want to jump in again and we can have a discussion, or if I should just exit this. Oh, here she comes. You're muted, Laura. Oh, there you are.
I'm here. I'm back. Sorry, I was working on some things in the background while I was listening to you. But thank you, Rasmus, for sharing about Treasure Hunt.
Don't worry.
I'm not sure if you were able to, or if you thought to share some of the details, but let's, in terms of getting started, when did you get the idea for Treasure Hunt, and how many treasure hunts have you successfully completed? And I'd like to, three things. When did you get started? How many have you done up to now? And I want you to walk me through one.
All right, sure. And that's a really good manifestation or like illustration of what I just was talking about, because the first time we had our treasure hunt, it was just me and my co-founder friend, Mikkel Bonner Mortensen, who were out for a walk in Søndermarken, and we had just, Mikkel had we were in his apartment, and we went down for a walk, and on the way we stopped by a supermarket and put in some bottles for recycling. So he had a box that we took with us for our walk in Søndermarken, a park in Copenhagen, and then we just walk around for an hour or something, and during that trip, we suddenly started picking up small pieces of trash. Like we started with we found another bottle, I think a can actually, and we were like, okay, yeah, we just went down with other bottles so we can pick this up as well. And then we saw a piece of paper and we picked that up, and we started talking about trash, and we were both politically engaged, both of us, and have political backgrounds both in our studies and in our spare time. So it was natural for us to go into a sort of societal discussion about trash as an issue and environmental policies. And we just kept collecting trash, and it became kind of fun to, oh, there's something in the bush over here, and so on and so on. And then we found like a bow and arrow during the trip also, which was kind of weird. And by that, end of an hour and 2 hours, we had like a whole box filled with trash and this weird stuff that we found on the way. So this was kind of, and immediately, I mean, this was how it got started really, because immediately afterwards we were like, okay, this was super fun. We had a good time, we had a good talk, and we had actually a lot of fun, like going around picking up. It was kind of like a treasure hunt. We should call it treasure hunt or skallejagt in Danish, right? So it was just very immediately and very natural. And we were like, okay, let's do this again. We'll invite some people, maybe nobody would come, but let's just fucking do it. And we went ahead and invited out. Sorry?
I said, when was that?
And that was, I think it was like September or August last year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we started by holding one event, and then we were like, this was kind of fun. And I think the first time, 9 or 10 people showed up or something, all of which we knew and like were friends and friends of friends. And we were like, okay, we should keep doing this. This is fun. And then we just made the next one, and then we started to become more organized. And all in all, I mean, it was just a matter of like, okay, we can go collect. It doesn't really require anything. Everybody can do it, almost no matter age, disability, or so on. I mean, it's pretty easy and pretty convenient. And all you need to go is just, I mean, if you want to go real basic, it's just to buy some bags and maybe some gloves, and you can get that very cheap. And then the municipality ended up giving us a few things. So in that sense, it was really just a matter of us just doing something, and then in the beginning there were many mistakes, and we have slowly built it up over time, and now we have been running for a little bit more than a year. We have successfully, since that first event, done it every last Sunday of the month for more than a year now, and also had a few extra events. So we have had about 15 to 20, I think, events in total, and for the last, couple of months, half a year, we are typically between 15 and 20 people, many of which we have gotten to know through the events that come regular basis. And then to answer your last question about like walking you through a treasure hunt, usually it consists of right now every time it consists of us meeting up 11 o'clock in some location in Copenhagen. Right now we're mostly doing it in Copenhagen, and then from 11 to 12:15 we'll go around to collect trash, either in like self-formed groups and just as individuals, or else sometimes we also do like set groups, and then we have a short tea and coffee, and there's usually a volunteer, like one of the other participants, that sign up to come with some cake, and then we bring coffee and tea and sort of stuff for it, and then we have a short break, and then after that we do another sort of session of trash collection for about an hour again, and then in the end we have a short ceremony where people tell the stories about where the trash they collected and where they found it and what the weirdest piece was, and then we'll have like usually a vote about who found the weirdest piece, and then a prize also in the end. Actually, the prize is sponsored by Brian and his store Ego. That was just joined the call here just before I came on. So thank you, Brian, also very much for assisting us in that. So yeah, that's
the walkthrough. Now, I've been to, I think I've been to 2, maybe 3, but I'm sure I've been to at least 2. And I was surprised by actually, I was doing it because, of course, the connection to you and the team, and like wanting to be supportive, and getting out there on a kind of chilly day and collecting the trash, and had a great time. I mean, got to, also what I like about it, that community feel that, it's pretty effortless. You feel good because you did something interesting, but you also learned something. So I think, when we were in Hostiarspark and the strange tales that got spun about the crazy I mean, it was just, you're just dumbfounded by the things that people are throwing away in a park. And I think that there's something to be said about, I know you were speaking about some of the stuff, and hi, Shruti.
no, it's just a lamp.
No, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were reaching over. Anyway, yeah, see, because that's the thing. This is the Copenhagen group. So I know all of these people, like I know them, I know their loved ones, I know family members, I know girlfriends, wives. So yeah. Anyway, the point is that what I was the reason I was like pulling some of this out from you is because for people who are, like you said, it's really easy to get started. It's really something that pretty much every community needs, any kind of urban community anyway. And it's a way to engage the full community. It's very inclusive. It doesn't matter what age. I remember being really impressed by, I know they're like a part of your tag team. They're basically always there. The 2 youngsters who always end up finding the weirdest, strangest, largest trash. But it's a good thing to do for families. It's a good thing to do to engage from a social standpoint. I think that's like, there's many layers to Skaliak. That's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on, so that people could be inspired by the work that you guys are doing. I think it's really admirable that you would want to do this. And besides, I mean, do you want to say something connected to that, or?
Yeah, it's just that's actually one of the things I'm also really happy about with the organization right now is that we actually have managed to, and I'm not sure quite how, but we have people from all ages. We have people from like 9 or 8 and even younger. I think we're down to like 6 and 5 years old a few times, and up to 70, and both expats and students and people who work and like people in their 40s and 30s and 20s. I think despite especially like me and the other co-founder, we're both around mid 20s, and despite that fact, and then we've actually, I think, managed to create a community where both it's national and, I mean, yeah, we have a very broad group of people joining us, and that's really been gained a lot for us.
Yeah, I think that if people are trying that, I mean, there are many aspects from an entrepreneurial perspective. I think that for people who are, who perhaps already are a part of like a nonprofit, an organization, they could mobilize their people to go out and do something like this as a team building activity. I know that you have thought about Skaliakt as a team building activity. I don't know if I missed the piece that you talked about deep tourism. Did you? Did you talk about deep tourism and then I missed
I didn't mention that word, but I did. I described the process basically.
Okay, so
I
deep
mean,
tourism,
expand upon that
specifically.
is it in the discovery part journey where you get to see another layer of the city that you thought you already knew, and I think in that sense, like the picking up trash is also a great experience for tourists, both local and cross cultural international tourists. But really, I mean, we can spend a lot of time like flying to Rome and seeing Rome and spend a weekend there and kind of get a superficial view of the city. And I mean, no matter what, if you go somewhere for a week or 2 weeks maximum, it's going to be superficial. So what the experience like the Skaliakt can be is a kind of deep tourism experience, in the sense that you get to really be a tourist in your own city, and in the park you've walked through 100 times, in the sense that you see like these hidden deeper layers once you learn to listen to the stories of the trash leaves behind.
Yeah, I think it's really it's an innovative way of thinking of tourism. It's a great way to engage maybe marginalized people from marginalized areas to come in and meet others. Especially, I think this idea that you incorporate that tea time in there is also a really nice little piece, because it's a chance to connect with your fellow Skaliakt. When we're broken down into teams and then we come together, and usually the people who are bringing, they're bringing homemade food, like they're bringing homemade treats, so you get a nice, it's a very personal experience. That's what I'm trying to say. It's an intimate experience. You go out and it gives you, like you said, there are a lot of layers. So that's wonderful. Now I'm going to move over to another side of it, and I'm really sorry I didn't get to hear what you were saying. So if I'm repeating myself, if it's something you covered, then you can. Yeah, I covered that. Recover it in a sentence then. But the idea of also, what does it take to get a nonprofit off the ground? Because you decided to establish this as a nonprofit, and I imagine there was a choice in there. There was some thought put into it, and you've also reached out to get funding. And what has that been like for you as a young entrepreneur, while you're also doing so many other things?
I mean, I covered some of the aspects of that, but probably also in a rambling fashion, because I've been working hard since 9 o'clock in the morning, and literally just came home 5 minutes before and got to kiss my girlfriend and just instantly on the computer here. So so maybe some of the stuff got lost, and there's also additional aspects that we just added onto it. So I'll be happy to go through it again. I think, I mean, I was just attending a conference today about entrepreneurs issues faced by entrepreneurs who are migrants, and there was one guy from the municipality who said, in Denmark, it's very, very easy to make a company, and that also includes a non-profit organization. In the sense that it takes like 20 minutes, half an hour to register online. What I think is difficult part is what comes next, right? How do you grow it? From the very beginning, the idea of our organization was not to make money. I would like to make this organization a part of my professional portfolio, where I also get some kind of income through it. But the profit aspect was never an objective, and the income was also more long term than short term. So in that sense, it was really easy in a way, because we just wanted to grow organically. We had plenty of ideas and inspirations and hopes and dreams and so on, but we were not in a rush to get there. So we simply just said that, okay, now we're just going to invite people. We don't have a logo, we don't have a website, we don't have a Facebook page even, we don't have anything. We don't even have a CVR number. We didn't even register until like a half year later, until I think maybe a couple of months. We're just going to do this. We're just going to go out and collect trash and then see what happens. And have fun with it. And then after each time, it just got better. So that goes back to the thing I was talking about before. No more excuses, just take charge and just do something. It doesn't matter what it is, just doing something. I mean, also right now I'm doing this talk, and I'm sitting here and talking with you, where I haven't had time to probably prepare deeply, and I could have done so much other things that would have made this even better, but just doing something and trying it and failing and doing it again gets you so much further than sitting back and calculating risks and trying to make it perfect. And this perfection, like, I mean, I think so much energy and so much potential dies in this idea of perfection, and this idea of I'll do it when I'm whatever.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
So just action, and I mean, Laurie, we talked about this many times. This is the year of action. Do it, and then it fails or it doesn't, and then you see what happens. So just make mistakes. That is really the motto I would go with here. It's just try it out, and then something will happen.
Absolutely. And I think for people in Denmark, then great. It is that easy. You can go and get the information where to sign up if you want to start. You know, if you need a CVR number, if you want to get, you know, you want to get.
You don't need it.
You don't need it until you get to a certain level. So that's true. But if you are kind of in the process and you want to get it, it's not an administrative nightmare to do it. But of course, then there are things that you must, of course, manage, because as soon as you do it, then there are things administratively that you're going to have to adhere to. But the idea, like, for
what I would say is,
mm-hmm.
if I can interject, I think my argument would be that all that administrative bullshit and bureaucracy and so on, it will align itself in the long run. Just do it.
Yes.
Just do whatever you want to do, and then the bureaucracy will either follow or you will figure it out. Doing it, and then we can figure out the details afterwards. And then once you are already in the mode of doing it, then it becomes so much easier. Okay, then you have to figure out, I mean, that's also with the Danish system. It's easy to register, but then you get the whole tax system, which is a fucking mess. So, and super, super complicated. But once you actually, now you just take it one step at a time, and then you will figure it out. So instead of thinking about, if you start thinking about all those things before, if I have thought about, like, oh no, I have to make a CVR number, I have to make like VAT registration, I have to make other tax things as well, applications, which means I have to make a brochure, I have to make a website, I have to make a Facebook group, a Facebook page, I have to make a logo, I have to make, if I've thought about all those things and made a business model and business canvas or whatever all that bullshit is, then I would never have gotten anywhere with it. So just doing it and then figuring out one step at a time what you need to figure out when you need it, instead of all this over academicization of the entrepreneurial process. I think can really
Yes.
be harmful rather than helpful. So yeah.
Yes. Yes, you make some points. You make some valid points. Context is everything. So I can, as you know, in many of our conversations, I definitely see your point. I think in some context, I am all about action, of course. I believe in that I will endorse imperfect action because I personally and have seen so many entrepreneurs who suffer from it, where I am in both camps. On the one hand, taking imperfect action. This is an example, this hotline. And then there are other things where I am frozen in time because it's not just, I want it to be just a little bit better, just a little bit better. And so, you know, the thing is, I think the lesson there is you never arrive. You're never going to be somewhere where you think, now I don't worry because everything I do is perfect now. I don't have to ever worry about that again.
And my argument would be that the fastest way to get there and the most efficient way to get there is by trying, and then you
Yes.
fail and then you try again. And
That's
I mean,
right.
what's the risk of trying and what's the risk of failing? I mean, really, when you think about it, it's only humiliation.
Actually
And
say the
humiliation
only
is a joke.
failure is not trying. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think there's, I don't know if it's on my side. I think there was a lag. So sorry if I was talking over you.
No, it happens with also. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So people, this has been a informative lesson about following your passion and following your conviction and your ethical compass and engaging others into your mission. You can do that. You can be successful. You can have fun. You can do serious work while having fun, and you can also have a economical model in that. Rasmus, I believe, did not talk about an economical model, but there is also an economical model in that. And the idea of being responsible and being aligned, I think a lot of people, when they think of the kind of thing that you're doing, they don't necessarily think of that as like, oh yeah, trash, that's going to be fun. Like trash seems like not fun, right? It seems like, oh, especially in many ways that we've been speaking about trash as this burden, as this thing that's been put upon us because of irresponsible behavior or because of ways that we were allowed to do things in the past, which has created all of this excess and people not being responsible. So people thinking it doesn't matter if I throw this on the ground or, if I put my cigarette out in the park, and everybody does that, right? It doesn't matter if it's just one set of million people. I mean, come on, that we are becoming more aware of it, and hopefully doing initiatives such as yours will help to put some visibility also on the environmental elements as well as the social benefits, and as well as the environmental benefits as well, right? So
Yeah, sure.
so thank you very much for coming. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you
Laurie.
taking the time. And we will be closing out of this. I will be going into the furoshiki. Going to teach you about wrapping gifts with cloth. So if you're still there, this is going to be my final hour for the day. And after about 8 to 10 hours of live streaming, I'm going to get to sleep tonight. So tomorrow's the final day. So please stay in there. Keep sharing your comments and reaching out to us. We are here for you. We hope that this is something that you are also finding valuable.
And
Yes,
can I
Ray?
actually just do a quick advertisement? If you're in the Copenhagen area and you're viewing this, or in the nearby Copenhagen area, on Sunday, you have the magical opportunity to participate in one of these treasure hunts. So join us. You can find
Which
us.
park? Where are you? Which park?
We're meeting at Superkilden.
Superkilden in Naples.
Yes, exactly. Superkilden Park.
Okay.
At near Cape Castle, and then we'll go from there. So anybody viewing or listening or whatever you're doing,
What's the
I-
cafe? I'm sorry.
Happy
Castro?
But
Castro.
maybe yeah, I just
It's
we have
already
a
done.
link there.
Here you go.
Perfect. Amazing.
Here you go. If I can, oh, I'm in the wrong place.
I think that was a private chat between you and
Oh
you.
my goodness. All right.
There's an
Yes.
event on Facebook as well you can find and just go to Skraldejagt.
Yes. I assume if they're in the Copenhagen area, they're going to understand what that means.
Yeah, I hope so. And everybody's very welcome.
Yes.
And there's very good pages.
There we go. Super Keelan, Cafe Castro. At what time?
11
What time,
on Sunday.
Rasmus?
11 on Sunday.
Sunday at 11. All right. And yes, I'll put it in the comments on Facebook with the replay thing. So,
Amazing.
all right. Wonderful. Say hello to everyone that I know from your
I will.
family and your inner circle. And thanks again. Cheers.
Thank you, Lori. Cheers.